Hey, what's going on, everybody? Got another video for you here. And this one, you know what, I've just been seeing some interesting knives, not paying too much attention to the manufacturer, if it's a production knife or past history of things. Just wanted to check things out and see them for myself, especially on these more, what I would call inexpensive knives. This was something that I saw at the SHOT Show. One of the videos, I believe it was on Kaila's channel, along with FlippinBeans, was showing this knife, and I couldn't find any other information out there on it. I think there was one or two sites that maybe had just some basic info on it, but there was no other videos I could find on YouTube about it, and not much else. Even on like sales sites, there wasn't that many companies that, or main knife purveyors that had it listed or anything, and I found this online somewhere, so I figured I'd order it. This is the Mantis Knives Snaggletooth. I believe it is a new model. It sounded like it was a new model when they talked about it at SHOT Show. And it is black G10, stainless steel liners, at least I believe they're stainless steel. Pocket clip, I like the look of this pocket clip, and I like even how it's mounted and everything, but for this type of knife, I really wish it was tip-up carry and not tip-down, especially when we get to this part of it. You'll see. So that's the basic specs on the knife. Very large knife, and then you will see here, very small blade, or at least short blade, I should say. It is, wide. Here's the whole knife, so you can see it. Move the light a little bit here for you guys. You know what? Let me pull out my one flashlight here. Sometimes this lighting isn't always the best. I only have the one lamp here. I tried doing the dual lamp and it was like too much light, but see what happens. Oh my gosh, the camera freaks out. It kind of looked good for a second there. There's probably too many lumens on this. Messes up the picture on the camera. Sorry about that. Thought I'd try it. See how it is. Maybe we'll use it for something else. So there's the look at the knife. Once again, like I said, I'm not really going to talk too much about other past things about brands or anything like that. We're just going to look at the knife on the merits. The other cool thing, or the main reason why I picked up this knife, not so much this, because it kind of looks weird like this, big huge handle, small tiny blade, but this little button. Yes. I just thought that was pretty cool. Pops out the karambit finger hole there, and now you have a very tactical knife. It was already a tactical looking knife pretty much, and not so much in this forehand grip, but I think really what this comes in useful is in the reverse grip. Your thumb comes right across here. You have good purchase. There's the jimping on the liner lock there that your pinky kind of catches on to. And then you really have a good control, good range as far as reach with this knife, because even if you choke down on it, you can see that length you have there through the handle, and you can really spread your hand out on this knife too. The other thing is most karambit style knives, and I'm talking karambit mainly because of the finger hole here, not so much because of the blade shape. You can't really hold without a finger being in here. Now even with this open, I can still fit my fingers in this knife and almost have it locked in here with the flipper slash choil, and this isn't really so much a flipper, it's more of a finger guard, and then the karambit hole really holding my hands in there. Is it very super comfortable? No. Does it work? Can I hold it like this? Yes. Do I have good purchase on the knife? Yes. But really you're supposed to be in this this handhold, or as I prefer it with this knife, to really be in the reverse grip, and that works the best. Now once again, you can put the finger hole away, and you can have a very comfortable full hand grip on this knife. Let me just flare this out just a little bit. So you can see how much room there is. Now a few different hand holds on here, and you can see how they've had this cut out, milled out section, so you can have multiple grips both with the finger circle, finger groove hole area or not. So you can be down here on the knife with your thumb in this slot and have a little bit more reach, as you can see there, or you can be choked into it right here, or have your finger right there for, you know, let's say you're doing a really pressure cut, push cut through something. You can do that as well. You know, if you're doing some slicing, you don't need your finger on the blade, but your finger can be up here for a little bit more control, you know, flexed out like that. So it's really interesting. I believe the info on this is that it's a Morgan Thomas design, and maybe there's other designs that are involved in this or not, I'm not sure. And then obviously the pop out finger hole. The teeth groove marks that they made in here was to obviously resonate the name of the knife, which is the Snaggletooth, which I think is a cool, fun name. You know, I have no problem with doing fun, neat names for knives. Why not? I mean, I know there's the ones that just numbers, letters and numbers, and that's it. I get it. But hey, it's fun to make up a cool, fun name or interesting name for something. Now, just to show you a few other things on here, it is a liner lock. And see if we can focus that. Not the thickest liner I've ever seen, but you know, it seems to do its job. Once again, it's a small blade as far as length on it, so there's not a ton of weight or heft on this blade resting on this liner lock. Pretty early lockup, I'd say 25%, just because it's the whole liner on the tang there. Pretty easy to disengage. Just push it over. Closes right up. It's smooth in the sense that it's even as far as action throughout the opening and closing of the knife. You can see here closing it, opening it, you know, no real issues. There is friction there though. I mean, it is, you could feel it. It's not rolling on wheels or anything like that, on bearings that I can tell of any kind. It seems to be pretty a solid pressure all the way through. So that's why when I say that flipper is not really a flipper but a finger guard, you can see here it's not going to flip from that. Now what it can do is if you push it and give it wrist action, and let's try this. I'm trying not to hit anything here, guys. You can pop it open pretty easily. There isn't, like I said, there isn't a lot of weight on this blade. I mean, you have this tall piece and it is somewhat wide, but there's no real length to it. It's just right around 2.5 inches, and even with this top piece up here, it's cut out. You can see it's a very thin, not very thin, but it's a thinner piece of steel. I mean, it is right here, somewhat thick, but they've cut a lot down. You have this, it seems to be a hollow grind. Maybe that's a flat grind. It seems kind of hollow when you feel it on the blade. So there's a lot of steel taken off of it. So there's not a lot of weight. So both, one, because it's not really on a bearing system of any kind or really set up with any great bronze special fluidity washers. You know, you're not going to get a flip out of it that way. But, you know, you do a little wrist and stop action when you push it, and you can pop it out. Now, concerns on this knife, or not really concerns, but issues. It is a very heavy knife. I think this weighs over half a pound. One, that has to do with the stainless steel liners instead of titanium liners. Two, the G10 is pretty thick on this knife. Get some macro shots here for you. And you can see that's actually the ring guard there. But you can see it's a pretty thick piece of G10. You have the mechanics of the ring in there and the ring's weight itself. Jimping across there, the flipper slash finger guard, and the blade, of course. You can see blade pretty well centered, pretty much dead on, almost looks like it to me. Have this thing flip out at you. Whoosh. That thing's just fun to play with, and it's cool. You can have this open if you wanted to without the blade open. It doesn't, you know, it's not like one before the other has to happen. So if you wanted to carry this and have it always in the karambit mode, you could just leave this out how it is. But you know, jimping here I like. It's not too aggressive. It feels nice, but the jimping here is just somewhat a little rougher, especially if you are going to be trying to flip this knife, or if you want to do that push out and push in. Sometimes if you hit it just wrong, your finger is going to catch here, or it's going to mark up your finger a little bit. You know, if I push really hard on here, you can see that on the fingers. Not a deal breaker or anything, but just something to be aware of. You know, liner strength on this seems fine. I haven't really done any spine whacking tests or anything like that with it. I just literally got it out of the box and have flipped it a few times. Still has the oil on it, you guys can see there. Not going to do a cut test or any kind of other hard use test on this, mainly because this was actually the wrong version that was sent to me that I ordered. They have this in 3 versions. This is the black. They also have a Bead Blast, and they have a Bead Blast with serrations. And that was the one that I did order, and for whatever reason, this is the one that was delivered. I wanted to get a vid up of it just so you guys could see it, but I've already contacted them and this is going back. That's why I'm not going to do any cut tests or any spine whacking or anything like that. I just wanted you guys to see the knife so you could see it for yourselves, get a little bit more in-depth view of it, that kind of stuff. But when I get the other one back, I'll do some cut tests on it, or when I get the right one back, and also you get to see it with the serrations. As far as sharpness goes, not the sharpest thing I've ever gotten out of the box. Even the point right here, you can see I push on it. You can see that it's not that sharp. I don't know if that has to do with the jimping that they've done on the top here, and that they've kind of doled out this point tip because of that. But I would think on a tactical knife, a self-defense knife like this, that you would want to have a very sharp point, at least to, you know, start the puncture or something like that. Once again, this it's sharp, but it's not anything to write home about. Also, this has, I guess, the MVX steel. I have no idea. I know it's a high carbon steel. Not really aware of that, and I'm sure that there'll be comments about that too. But once again, I just thought it was an interesting thing, mainly because of this cool pop-out ring hole here. I'm sure there's other knives maybe that have done this, but I haven't seen that many out there. I just think it's a neat thing to play with. And then 2, that this had a flipper on it. Not that it's meant to really to be a flipper, but more of a finger guard. But you can, with the right wrist flick, pop it out. And just that it was a neat thing. You know, I wanted to try it out, see how it was. You know, this finger hole works fine to open it that way. And really what I would like to see change is that they, even though how nice this looks with the 3 stainless steel screws there and how it's nicely put around the pivot, and once again, it's, you know, it's kind of a unique pivot with the little design around it. That's always nice to see. Is that really for something like this needs to be tip up, because this would be the perfect per Emerson wave action opening. You know, if this was in the pocket and you wanted to pull it out deployed, if you had the pocket clip here, you figure the pocket clip's going this way, this is your pocket, you pull it, your pocket catches right here, blade is open, your hand's right on the button, your button pops out, and boom, you're ready to go. You know, so why this is tip down carry, I don't really understand, and that there's no way to reverse it. You can reverse the side you carry on. They left the holes here, but you can't really reverse, put it here unless you're going to send it to a modifier. I guess maybe a reason is because of this ring. They couldn't drill into here. You can see how this is set up on here. Come on, focus. That there's the button, and then here's the release on it. So you can see it from this side when it releases. You can see that. See how that pushes down? Up. Oh my gosh, sorry about that, guys. But see that release there? So you push this back, it's locked, pops out. But I don't know, I think there's room here. Like, you could have used this screw to put a pocket clip on that's on the standoff, or even in this little area, but maybe there's a mechanism in here. I think it's just a tension bar that's popping that out. But anyways, that would be my one thing that I wish they could change about it, and then I don't really know much about the steel, so I'm not going to get into that. But neat, cool piece, very heavy. You can see how big it is in the hand. Just, I mean, a heft thing. And I guess the other thing with this finger hole or finger groove, finger slot hole cutout, is that you can use this as a glass breaker too. You know, if you just want to hammer on something, that it has this angle that you can do that with. Or, you know, just for added oomph with your fist, you just have a great filled up, you know, fist thing here with a ton of knife handle in it. But we'll flip this out one more time for you. Like that. And I guess the best operation would be to have it in reverse already. So if you had this, you pull it, this comes out here, you press your button here, and you're ready to go. And just a size comparison for you guys, there's that. Here is a ZT0561. And here is a Gavco Mini EDC flipper. And something a little bit more tactical like this, not that these aren't tactical, but a Browse Silent Soldier flipper. The ring kind of gets in the way. Let's see. Yeah. So you can see size-wise on those. 2.5 inch blade, 3.5 inch blade. I think this is about a 5 1/4 inch handle. Get that out of the way. I really like this piece, so lightweight, so smooth, and nice and classy too. Here with the ZT is still a little bit longer. I thought with how big this handle was, we'll close that up for a second. Yeah, I mean the blade makes a difference obviously there, but you can see the size on that. And then lastly, you know, here's a piece where it's very tactical too. Finger goes in through the hole here. You can even choke up here. That's nice, you know, for your finger on that part. You can reverse grip here. Drop your finger through that way too. You can go middle finger and have the punch on it. But this, I believe, is a little over 2.5 inch blade. This is 2.5 right on the dot. So when you have them at the pivot, the Browse still looks a little bit longer actually as far as blade goes. But, you know, closed up. You can see the difference on that. This thing fires like a rocket. Look at that. Cool. But there's your look on the Snaggletooth. Just my thoughts on it. This is nice. It's fun. So leave any comments you want, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll get some other videos up soon. Sorry about the delay between videos. Just haven't gotten anything really that exciting lately, so popped one up, and we'll get some more going. Thanks.